Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing great. I hope you've had a great day today. This is Reverend Benita Weathers here with Mind the Mental Monday. Um, I was I didn't do Mind the Mental Monday last Monday. I had a meeting that I needed to take part in as a part of my ministerial responsibilities. Um, and I didn't get a chance to do a live video, but I'm here tonight and I'm excited to be here tonight. And as before we get started, I want you to do, I want you to put in the chat. I know I always ask where you're tuning in from. So let me know where you're tuning in from. But in addition to letting me know where you're tuning in from, um, let me know how you're doing. How are you? I want you to take a minute as we prepare to get started. I want you to first think about on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being I'm not doing so great, and 5 being I'm doing terrific. um, on a scale of 1 from 1 to 5. Let me know how you're doing. I just want to sort of take a pulse here. There's a lot going on just in the world in which we live. There's a lot that we are um, dealing with in all kinds of spectrums and realms. And so, as I've mentioned many times before, it's important to kind of stop, pause, step back, take a break, take a breath, and sort of assess where you are mentally. So on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being I'm not doing great at all, to 5 being I'm terrific, I'm doing great, this has been a great day. Just let us know how you're doing. Also, if you have a prayer request, I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that our God, our Creator, Jesus Christ, is powerful beyond measure. And so if you have a prayer request, please message me on my page, Benita Weathers, Reverend Benita Weathers. Or actually, I think it's Rev Benita Weathers is how it's listed on Facebook. Or if you're on Instagram, or either place, feel free to message me, and I will get back to you. And I will be praying for you. I'm going to elicit your prayers for one of our team who is normally here, Joy Hall. And I won't say the reason for the prayer, but just lift her up in prayer tonight. Just hold her in your prayers. We would really appreciate it. So again, hey Val, good to see you tapping in. So again, tell me where you're tuning in from in the comments. And as I'm talking, I need you guys to engage with me as well, um, so that I don't feel like I'm sort of sitting here talking to myself. It can kind of feel that way when you're doing these live presentations on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. So just let me know that you're here. Even if you just say hello. that would be great. So um, put in the chat where you're tuning in from, put in the chat how you're doing, how are you today? And we're talking about just right now. We're not talking about how you were yesterday. I mean, like right now in the moment. I want us to take some time to assess where we are in the moment. Um, and so again, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being I'm not doing so well, and 5 being I'm doing terrific, put in the chat how you're doing. Let us know if you have any prayer requests, especially if feel like you're not doing so well. Let us know how we can support you, how we can be in prayer with you, how we can come alongside you as with whatever it is that you might be going through. And what we want you to know is that you're not alone, and that you matter, and you certainly matter to God, and you certainly matter to me. And yeah, I'd love to engage with you if you're in need of any kind of just support, emotional support, support through prayer. So I'm going to be over the next few weeks, I am going to do a series, and it's going to be called Fear Not, You Can Refuel After 50. And I'm going to be talking about a variety of topics that just have to do with um, ways to refuel, or reasons that we might need to refuel after 50, and sort of how can we refuel and how can we get through some of the issues that um, really pertain mainly, not only, but mainly to us as we begin to age, and when we cross that 50 threshold. um and we're not, nowadays, we're people are living longer, and so it used to be, by 50 people were sort of almost like winding down in a way. Sort of thinking more about retirement, and thinking more about sort of how they plan to spend their last days. But now at 50, people are doing new things, turning over a new lease, and, doing some things that uh, maybe even just 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, certainly, it would have been thought of as ludicrous to change careers at 50, or decide to start a business at 50 or 50 plus, um, or just to do a variety of things, right? Um, so I want to tonight, I'm going to focus on the fear of change, the fear of change. And change is something that many of us fear, honestly, like regardless of our age. But what happens when you kind of cross the 50 threshold and go and move on up a little higher, you have spent so many years sort of establishing who you are, establishing your routines, maybe establishing your career, establishing your family. And then you find yourself in a place where you are starting to maybe sort of get bored, or, you're starting to feel like like the world doesn't really have much use for you anymore, and you start to think about, what can I do now, um, at this stage in life, to do something that I love, do something that I think will um, change my little portion of the world that I'm in, starting with my family and then sort of branching out from there. Like what are some things that I can do as I cross the 50 threshold to just refuel? Because many of us, by that age, we've been in the same job for 20 plus years. Maybe we are at a place where, really, we could retire. That's kind of where I am. I'm at a place where I actually could retire from where I work, but I need, I still am feel like I'm thriving and wanting to still kind of do some other things. And so, one of those things might be changing careers. I had thought about that actually a few years ago. I thought about just completely changing careers, and then it felt crazy, right? It felt like you're going to wait till you're like 50 to decide to go in a whole new direction. But sometimes that's exactly what's needed in order to refuel your life. Um, and so I think that in that we understand that that's something that maybe we need to do. We understand that that's something that could help even prolong our life because it's a new lease on life. It's something that's exciting. It's something that keeps us going. But at the same time, we fear change. And a lot of the change that we fear has to do with the world as we know it today is very different from the way the world was as we were sort of developing into adulthood. Things have changed. Technology has, I mean, really changed. But that's true for every generation. As the years go by, the technology just gets faster, it gets more complex, it gets scarier, and sometimes we're afraid to try to learn a new skill. Sometimes we're afraid of the technology that is being used, even if it's good, right? Even if there are ways that a new technology can help us to do things, to manage things more effectively, um, to do things quickly, to not to make it such that we don't have to spend as much time doing a task that might have taken us, a whole day. Now, there are ways that you can do that in 15 minutes. And then you have the whole rest of the day to get more done. Um, but it's scary sometimes to think about, having to adjust to new ways of doing things, having to adjust to a new system. I used to always tease my sister, and she's probably going to see this, and I don't think she will mind me talking about her because we laugh we laugh all the time. But I remember, that she would and she's 10 years my senior, right? So she actually grew up in seemingly almost a different generation than I did in a way, even though it's only 10 years, a lot can change in 10 years. But, there was a time where, and I don't know, she might still do this, but where she would sort of still sit and like write out her bills and, by check and mail them in, or either to take them to the place wherever it needed to be paid. And I'm like, you still do that? Like, for me, it's like I pay everything online, everything comes out, and it's like I don't even look at it. I don't even see it. It goes where it needs to go. um, and but for her, it was really it's scary doing it that way because you see all the things about, people hacking different things. But now, by now, like all of our stuff is out there. It just is. And so we have to kind of just take the safety precautions that we need to take in order to kind of come up into whatever the new technology is, because if we don't, we will get left behind. So one thing that I'd like to encourage tonight in this, as the topic is the fear of change, is I want to encourage us to embrace change and try to learn something new. Try to learn a new skill. It doesn't have to be every single day. It doesn't even have to be once a week. It could be once a month. It could be once every couple of months. It could be reading an article about a new technology and sort of trying to understand it more. A lot of people are making judgments about like AI, for example, without really having any knowledge about actually what it is and what it's capable of. And just like anything, just like with social media, people can use it for good and people can use it for evil. I mean, that's a fact. So you make up your mind that you'll be one of the ones to use it for good, but it doesn't mean that it's just totally, something to be afraid of. Talk to, in one way, one of the things that I really like to do is I am an intergenerational parent. I mean parent. I'm an intergenerational person. I grew up with my grandparents, right? Being very much in my life. And I enjoyed kind of sitting at the feet, particularly of my grandmothers and even some of my aunts, like just hearing them and hearing their stories and learning from them, and but also being able to exchange with them. Well, this is how we do it in our generation. Maybe they didn't accept it, but they listened to how things are done in a new generation. So I encourage you to, talk to some of the young people. If you're 50 plus and you're not, most people I think in their 50s are pretty adept at uh, technological advances, such as, social media and different tools that are used in the workplace, Word and Excel and, just different technology. But there are new technologies that are coming along that we might not be as familiar with. So talk to your millennials and your Gen Z generation people in your family and say, hey, teach me about that. Teach me how to do certain things on your phone. Most of us probably don't use all of the capabilities that we have on our phones, right? Because it's just a lot. It just seemed like a lot. We just don't feel like even, um, really dealing with learning something new. But what that does is it keeps you relevant. It also just exercises your mind, right? Because your mind is a muscle. And just like any other muscle in your body, if you don't use it, then it's sort of you're not able to it's not able to extend anymore, right? It's not able to do what it's supposed to do to help in your movement. And it's the same thing in your mind. Like it's important to exercise your mind. And one way to do that is beyond doing like different kinds of puzzles and things like that, is just trying to learn something new, something from the next generation, and bring it into some of the things that you might do or need to do now, because in that way you become more confident. You become more confident that you are still relevant, that you can still be relevant, even even beyond 50, or 60 or 70 or whatever the case might be, um, you can not fear the changes that you might need to make, because you're able to then prove to yourself that you can do it. You can do it. You just have to put that foot forward to try. Uh, so a lot of times too, we also, in the fear of change, we've just become so used to doing things the way that we do it. And, you know, I, you hear it all the time, in different organizations, and people being like, well, we didn't used to do it that way, right? um, well, right. We didn't used to do it that way. We have evolved and we've grown and we've learned how to do it a more efficient way, a faster way, a better way, even, right? So don't get so hung up on what you used to do, how you used to do it. Let yourself evolve. Let yourself grow until you get to a place where you physically and mentally can't do it anymore. But don't just sort of give up on yourself. Just say, oh, I'm about to be 56. I'm not going to make any changes in my, I'm scared I'm miserable where I am. At the same time, I'm afraid to step out and try something else. And if you are a person of faith, I don't take for granted that everybody who sees this or hears this has a faith that they tap into. But in my Christian faith, you know, when I find myself, first of all, being fearful of anything, I first recognize where that fear comes from. And I know it doesn't come from the Lord. That's the first thing. Um, but then I also know that there are ways that I can overcome that fear. You One thing for sure is that you can never overcome fear if you don't even try, right? It's like you have to at least try to do something new, try, to make a change, try to put another foot forward to do something that you've never, something good that you've never tried before, right? Um, and not allow yourself to sort of go down this path of, well, I'm over 50. I just need to retire and just lay down somewhere. No, it's because I mean, we're living longer, right? And so you could have 30, 40, 50 more good years left, right? And so thinking about what can I do? How can I force myself even to just try something new? Because if you at least try, you'll find out that, okay, maybe you didn't do so well at it, or you'll find out that you did great, but you'll never find out if you don't try at all. So I always talk about how my mother ingrained in myself and my siblings, don't ever give up on yourself. Don't ever count yourself out. I don't care how old you are. Age, it's just age. Like, that's all it is. It's the length of time that you have been walking the earth. That's all age is. It has very little to do with your capabilities for doing something new and exciting and different and challenging after a certain age. So I want to encourage those of us that are in that 50 plus, who are contemplating, who are at a place where it's kind of like, I'm not really feeling fulfilled. I'm not feeling challenged in the ways that I was accustomed to. I really want to do something different, but it really scares the mess out of me to think about making a change in my life right now. Um, I want you to consider that not only can you make the change, but that when you do make the change, it will not only benefit you, but it will benefit those who see you stepping out on faith and making a change. It will benefit those coming up under you because, I personally want my daughters and my son, who are all in their 20s, to see that, wow, at age 50, mom started a business. Like, that's that, and maybe, it hasn't become a Fortune 500 company or something like that, but I took the step, right? I stepped out on faith, started the business, and there are ebbs and flows and ups and downs, but it's still there. It still exists. It's still going. And it was a step that I made 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now. But it's still going. And so you can still thrive in something new. You can still learn a new skill. I had no knowledge of a lot of the business knowledge that I needed to start a business. So I had to start doing things like going to, the website in my state of where I live, and the government website, and looking at small businesses and the small business website or page, and just taking classes and doing, workshops and webinars, and gaining the information that I need to learn, what are the basics, what are the steps that I need to take to just get started. And then once you get started, then, you need to surround yourself. Here's another thing to combat the fear of change. Surround yourself with other people who are doing the same thing. Surround yourself with other people who are not fearing making a change, but who are doing the thing at 56, at 60, at 65, still, and still rocking and rolling, still moving and shaking, and still, at the top of their game. Surround yourself with people like that, and learn from them, glean from their experience. And don't even limit yourself to people in your own age group. I learned so much from my children, again, who were in their 20s. I learned from them, because they are very adept and very, very abreast of the way things work in today's world, right? And so they teach me things that I didn't grow up with. They grew up with this technology. I didn't, right? And so I learn a lot from them as well. So what I'm saying is, I don't care how old you are, don't limit yourself, right? Don't be one of those that in that mindset of, well, we didn't do it, we didn't do it this way before. That's not how we used to do it, because you will never grow. You will remain stagnant and remain in 1965 for the rest of your days. And everybody else has moved on. Everybody else is in we almost in 2025. And so if you grew up, I'm a child of my formative years, like my teenage years were in the 80s. We're not doing stuff now that we did in the 80s. And if I allowed myself to keep the same mindset that I had in the 80s, where would I be? You cannot grow that way. So I want to encourage you that no matter how old you are, there's still room for growth. There's still room for it to evolve, to change, to metamorphosize. There's still room to do something new, to do something challenging, to do something exciting. There's still room for you to branch out and do something new. And so let's kind of curb the fear. And the way to sort of, again, get rid of that fear is to, one, make a decision that you're going to try something new. no matter what it is. You can start out small. It doesn't have to be a big change, but learn how to work a new app on your phone. That's something really simple, right? Um, download ChatGPT and learn how to use it. Just try it. Just, put in the prompts of something that you want to do and watch it work and see how useful it might be for you, even though in our generation, a lot of us are afraid of AI, right? Because again, it can be used for evil, and it has been, but the more you educate yourself about a thing, less your chances are of sort of being duped um, by those things. So you're able to kind of go on social media and when a bot is following you, because you just know, right? If you know, you know. You know when it's just, some non-human that's trying to engage or trying to get you riled up. So, the best way to not fear change is to first educate yourself about whatever it is that you're thinking about trying. Whatever the case might be, you're never too old to learn. You will never know everything. And, again, don't go into those later years thinking that you can't learn from the younger generations. Every generation thinks that their generation is better than the next one, right? We just do. I don't know why that is, but we just do. We all it's like, well, my generation, we did this, we had to, we had to use a typewriter. Like that's something grand. Like, okay, yeah, we had to do a lot of, making mistakes and having to rewrite stuff. We wasted a whole lot of time when you think about it, having to retype stuff or white out stuff and it looks sloppy. Well, now we have computers that we're able to make changes in real time whenever we need to and save the changes and all the things. That's a much better technology than the typewriter. The typewriter was a forerunner, and that was great for its time. But now there's something that is more efficient. So there's nothing wrong with growing and learning and utilizing something new in order to continue to grow and be okay with change. So, be encouraged that, to be cool with change. Change can be a cool thing. Change can be a fun thing. Change can be a wonderful thing. But if you never try, you might miss out on a lot by just becoming stagnant. And when you think about stagnation, um, we're meant to be flowing water. Water that is stagnant, what happens to it? It develops bacteria. Bacteria grows and it turns the water, it makes the water unhealthy. When you become stagnant in your life, it makes you become unhealthy because you're not happy anymore. You're grumpy about, we didn't used to do it this way and why we got to change and why we got to do it this way. Uh, and we start to sort of shrivel up inside. And then we just want to kind of go inside, put our heads under the pillow. Like, I can't keep up with the pace of this new generation and these new things, this new technology that's going on and all these things. So I'm just going to take my creativity and bury it. Oh, don't do that. Be vibrant. You were given gifts. You were given the ability to be creative for a reason, on purpose. so that it can be utilized not only for your own growth, but again, for your family, for your community, right? Whatever the different communities you participate in can look at you and see how you're thriving because you had the guts to take a chance on something new. So I hope that this is resonating with someone. I hope that you will think about what I'm saying, especially if you've crossed that 50 threshold. And even if you're not, even if you're younger, one day you're gonna get to that part where you maybe have been in a career for an extended amount of time, and you're getting to a place where it's just like, "Ugh, I'm just not thriving anymore here. I need something new. I need a change," and not be afraid to do that. Not be afraid to step out and think about how you can utilize the skills that you maybe have built up over a 20 plus year career to start a business. How, think about how you can utilize all the skills that you've gained to mentor someone else, to help someone else come up and not have thoughts about, no, I'm never going to want to change. I want to stay the way I am. I don't want to grow. This new technology stuff, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I just want to, let's try to change our mindset about change. And fear not, because you can refuel after 50. You can do it. So, this series that I'm going to be doing over the next several weeks um, is called "Fear Not." You can refuel after 50. Tonight, I talked about the fear of change, but I'm also going to be talking about other topics. I'm going to be talking about, being sandwiched, being in that sandwich generation. I think the generation ahead of me, which was the baby boomers. I'm Gen X. The baby boomers, was dealing with that, having young kids and aging parents and being sandwiched in between and trying to manage both. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about health challenges that arise, and ways to think about health challenges. What about trying to go to another job? What about, brushing up on those interviewing skills because you haven't interviewed in 20 years? And how do you do that? What do you need to do, to do those kinds of things? So I'm going to be talking about, topics around refueling after age 50, in the hopes that as you cross that 50 threshold, that you don't think of yourself as sort of just being stagnant, that um, you utilize the skills that those 50 years have taught you, and you're able to utilize them to take yourself even to higher heights and greater levels. All right. So thank you for tuning in tonight. I hope that this series will benefit those um, who have crossed that 50 threshold, and those that are on their way. Maybe they haven't gotten there yet. They're close, teetering on it. These are things that happen. When you kind of get to that big 50. Plus, but there are so many great examples of people over 50 that are doing some amazing things. Hey, son, my son just popped in. Good to see you. Uh, so it's really good to think about not just allowing yourself to sort of waste away, not to think that you have to sort of just give up on life, but there's so much more left. Left to life. And so challenge yourself to try something new. Try something new. It could be a new exercise. My son being on here made me think about that. It could be trying to, trying a new exercise or trying to exercise at all. Speaking to me, getting back to exercising. It could be, trying your hand at a new skill, at a new technology. Just let yourself try, try to make a change and get accustomed to making a change because um as my high school English teacher and I came up with, one must change to grow and one must grow to change. Change and growth go hand in hand, and you have to embrace change in order to grow. So I want to encourage you to don't to not reject change, but embrace it, because you just never know how far you can go even after 50. All right. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. I will be back next Monday with another Mind the Mental Monday. Be sure again to check in with yourself, check in with where you are mentally. Um, Make sure you do that intentionally and daily. And hey, give change a hug, embrace it. And next week, let me know what you did. Let me know in the comments one change, one thing new that you decided to try. That's your homework for the week. All right. Be back next week. Mind the Mental Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in and invite others to tune in as well. All right. Good night. God bless. Bye.